Sahanavavatu.
Sahana Bhavatu.
Sahanau bhunaktu.
Sahanau Bhunaktu.
Sahaviryankaravavahai.
Sahaviryam Karvavahai.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu.
Tejasvinavadhitamastu.
Ma vidvishavahai.
Ma Vidvishavahai.
Om
Om
Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Vasudevendra Yogindram
Vasudevendra Yogindram
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum
Natva Jnanapradam Gurum
Mumukshunam Hitarthaya
Mumukshunam Hitarthaya
Tattva Bodho Bhidhiyate
Tattva Bodho Vidhiyate.
Nityam Shuddhan Nirabhasam
Nityam Shuddham Nirabhasam
Nirakaran Niranjanam
Nirakaram Niranjanam
Nityabodhan Chidanandam
Nityabodham Chidanandam
Gurum Brahmanamamyaham
Gurum Brahmanamamyaham.
Samadhi Sadhana Sampattihika
Samadhi Sadhin Sampattika
Shamodama Uparatihi
Chamodama Uparatihi
Titiksha Shraddha Samadha Cha iti
Tiksha Shraddha Samadhanam Cha iti
Tamaha Kaha
Shamaha Kaha
Mano Nigraha
Mano Nigraha
Damaha Kaha
Damaha Kaha
Chakshuradi Bahyendriya Nigraha
Chakshuradi Bahendriya Nigraha
Uparamaha Kaha
Uparama Kaha
Swadharmanushtanameva
Swadharmanushtanameva
Titiksha Ka
Titiksha Ka
Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhadi
Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhadi
Sahishnutvam.
Sahishnutvam.
Thank you very much.
Thank
The
you.
Mangal
Thank you very
later
much.
on. So we are on the topic of Śraddha, and Tattva Bodha defines it as Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha. The definition is only meant for bringing our understanding to appreciate a value which we may not understand on our own as essential in the pursuit of self-knowledge. So definition is not strict in the sense of that alone is like that. How definitions mean as if they are the characteristic. When you see the definition of definition, then it has a very specific meaning. So the definition of definition is that which defines something. Now, Shraddha Kidrishi. Question is only what is Shraddha? So though in English I am using the word definition, what we need to understand is the words are trying to show to us what quality will be called Shraddha to help us identify it or develop it if I feel I need to. Guru Vedanta Vakyadishu Vishwasaha. Having faith, trust, I think I missed, belief, all three words, you could add one more probably, all of them together is one quality, Shraddha. Wherever there is a belief without faith or trust, that belief will become misleading at some point. Wherever there is trust without faith, that trust will fall short at some point. A faith by itself without trust will again be incomplete, become blind. It'll become blind belief, it'll become distrust, mistrust, it'll become blind faith. But Shraddha is something which cements. Cement is the right word. It cements all these three, maybe more, as a quality one identifies in oneself with specific pointer to that when I do not know something and I wish to know it, my first step can only be Shraddha. I don't know the way. I want to go to Timbuktu. I don't know the way to Timbuktu. I will have to depend upon someone to tell me. I will have whatever I do on my end, till I have myself physically followed some route, some guidance, something. Till then, Timbuktu is a notion, is a place I have heard of and I desire to go there. All these are my subjective experiences. I've heard of it, so curiosity started. Then I kept hearing of it from here and there, and then suddenly I find I have a little desire to visit the place. It Timbuktu kaisi jagah hoegi? So, what sort of a place? And people say it's a nice place. So after 7 hearing, 10 people, different people glorifying Timbuktu to me, I suddenly find myself feeling a little lack that I have missed something. I don't know Timbuktu. I have not been to Timbuktu. I have not experienced Timbuktu. Quote unquote. I feel a sense of lack because I say I have not experienced Timbuktu. Now, I am depending on someone who I believe has already experienced Timbuktu. And they have been there and they have come back and so it's a beautiful place. You must visit this. Abbas, that one last sentence kind of clinched the deal. Final straw on the last straw on the camel's back. Ab to mujhe jana hi jana hai. Come what may. The minute the flight starts, my first trip has to be Timbuktu because now that lack is something I identify with and that lack is indicative of my notion that there is an experience which seems to contribute to happiness, which I am missing out on. These words are very careful. What really means as a desire is that when I actually feel I am missing out on a certain experience that I suppose is supposed to give me happiness that I have heard others have got. किसी को कुछ मिल गया या प्राप्त हो गया, उनको आनंद आया, उन्होंने मुझे बताया, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि अरे मेरे पास नहीं है, मुझे भी चाहिए. And first time, second time, I'm not so miserable, but 50 times if I hear, 51st time I start believing that I don't have it, I must have it, otherwise I'm miserable. All of it is notional. Point is, I'm yearning for an experience, a visit to Timbuktu. This experience must presuppose that there is happiness there in it, which I have heard others tell me. I haven't gone there. I'd never heard Timbuktu before, word. Now, the minute I am desiring it, I find in myself methods of acquiring knowledge. I ask them, "Aap kaise gaye? Who was your travel agent? Where did you stay? What are things to visit? What do you eat? What is the season to go?" So many queries start. So much jignasa begins. So much desire to know expands from one desire. And that one desire was, having heard that Timbuktu is a beautiful place, the desire is, I also want to have that sensory experience. I want to have the experience of it. The word keep on underlining and keep hearing and reinforcing in yourself. The word is, I want to experience it. I want to experience it. I want to experience it. The minute I say I want to experience Timbuktu, initially nothing was happening when somebody told me, but the third time somebody repeated, then acha. How all the cruises grew suddenly, I think about a decade or 2 decades ago. The first time there was a cruise mentioned, people were scared, because everybody thought कि पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा if the ship has a wreck, if ship gets wrecked in the middle of an ocean. धीरे धीरे धीरे, cruise, everybody. A time came that everybody felt cruise is a must to live. All those who felt that. Now, watch the flow of your jignasa to acquire an experience of which you have no clue before. And now, jignasa to know so much has emerged because of one basic thought, that I also want to experience it. And the presupposition is, I have heard others glorify it, and they were very happy when they came back. That's it. So I'm sensing, I'm presuming. When I am presuming that there is happiness over there in that experience of the visit to Timbuktu, and I start gathering details about it, all of this is Śraddha. There is a jignasa. I believe the people. I trust they will not mislead me. I have faith that if theirs has gone well, mine will also go well. All of this is a supposition. That Śraddha there, which makes me sustain the pursuit. What makes me sustain the whole pursuit? And then I apply for visa, and then the worst thing ever, I stand in a queue, and then I wait for an interview, and I wait for permission that they will allow me. I do all this on a supposition that what they say must be true. Now, replace the whole example by words of Vedanta. Vedanta says you heard it somewhere, sometime, in some coincidence, in some occurrence, some event, something happened, some accident, kuch bhi hua, and you just heard some part of Vedanta, even the word Vedanta sometimes. To some people, even the word Vedanta starts the jignasa. They may have never heard the word before. Bhagavad Gita is popular, but Vedanta word was not so popular as it is now. People just heard the word Vedanta and suddenly said, "Ye kya hota hai? What is Vedanta?" And then they start pursuing the knowledge. And in the initial stages of the pursuit of the knowledge, all of it is from unknown to unknown. Timbuktu was unknown before you went there. The only thing known was the people from whom you were hearing. To some extent, they were known. Not entirely. But there was some familiarity, some point of contact, which was that you heard of it. That point of contact came through your ear. The point of contact came through the ear. You heard about it. In the same way, Vedanta says, when you hear the word Vedanta, and then you're curious to know, and then Vedanta, as you pursue it, and you suddenly realize it is not talking about how to get success in life, how to, ye sab to byproducts hai. I'm not saying it will not get. But the prime motive of Vedantic knowledge is not to help us get more things in the world. The prime purpose of Vedanta is to make us see that anything you get in the world will have only a time period associated in time. And if you can sustain your well-being without being dependent on it, you're on the right track. And to convey this point, finally it will say, you are absolutely a full expression of fullness. There is nothing lacking in you. There is nothing not there with you. There is nothing that you need more. You are full. You are an expression of fullness who seems to have taken association with the body. Until you understand your fullness and appreciate it again, till then, associated with the body, you falsely go on believing that there is happiness in that experience called Timbuktu. Something else, something else, something else, ye nahi mila to wo hoga. And then I go on searching it. This external orientation. When Vedanta says that you yourself is the one who is full, and my idea is actually that I am not full. To the extent that किसी ने मुझे Timbuktu भी कहा and I am miserable, I have eaten my partner's head or my parents' head and I have made them sanction everything that's needed, and जब तक मैं ना जाऊं मुझे शांति नहीं मिलेगी, तब तक I'm a devil incarnate, almost close to. Why? Because my mind is disturbed. I feel I lack something. This may seem like a very simple example, but it is conveying something very, very essential. The sense of disturbance that I feel because I have not got the experience is something that is extremely disturbing to the mind. And Vedanta says that you are the very full and you already have an experience of it. All other experiences that you will acquire will only fall short in that experience. So they never seem to leave you fulfilled. Because you already are experiencing your fullness. But non-understanding of it, non-recognition of it, non-appreciation of my fullness somehow makes me constantly want fullness. And that wanting of fullness is actually, even if I get it, even if I go to Timbuktu, I can say 100% sure I'll be a very happy person, because that's the last thing I wanted in life. एंड उसके बाद मेरी सब इच्छाएं फुलफिल हो गई. अब भगवान तेरी मर्जी, मुझे जब मर्जी उठा ले. मेरी आखिरी इच्छा पूरी हो गई. अब मेरी आखिरी इच्छा पूरी हो गई. How long, I know you all understood this point, but to convey this essential aspect, that how long is that fullness lasting? If I recognize something I have got, Shastra says, Vedanta says, in the light of your original experience, of the experience of your fullness, every acquired experience is actually limited, short, finite. This pursuit of discovering my fullness, as the Shastra says, जो मुझे तो पहले idea भी नहीं था. How many of us can really say that before I heard it for the first time through Vedanta, anywhere in the world, किसी से भी सुना हो, किसी युग में सुना हो, because this won't change. It's getting repeated and repeated and repeated. Whoever's ready just dips into it and grabs it. But it's just there. How many of us can say that I suspected my fullness before I was told that I'm full? All of us were in a chase of wanting something. When Vedanta tells me, and I hear it for the first time, for some of us, है ना, होता ना, पूरी दुनिया उलट जाती है. वो जो पूरी की पूरी दुनिया ही उलट गई. And at that moment you felt कि या अच्छी खासी जिंदगी चल रही थी. Why did I have to attend the Vedanta class? Why did I come for this? Why did I believe someone? Why did I even hear it? Because everything that Vedanta is telling me at this point of time, कुछ नहीं पल्ले पड़ रहा, कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा. How can I be full? As I'm talking, can't you see I'm an angry person? Can't you see I get jealousy? Can't you see that I'm wanting person? Can't you see that I need money? Can't you see that I have these problems? Can't you just acknowledge that I have a problem? Forget giving me the solution. पहले मान तो लो that I am insecure. पहले मान तो लो that I have wants. पहले मान तो लो कि I am दुखी. पहले मान तो लो कि I get angry. पहले ही मानो तो सही आप. आपको सोल्यूशन नहीं देना कोई बात नहीं, बट मानो तो सही आप. और वेदांता क्या कहती है? कहती है सारे के सारे जिसको आप प्रॉब्लम बोले जा रहे हो, बोल आज मुझे ये प्रॉब्लम, आज मुझे वो प्रॉब्लम है, आज मुझे जेलसी, आज मुझे एंगर है, आज मुझे जितनी भी प्रॉब्लम कितनी भी सिवियर प्रॉब्लम आपको लगती है ना, that problem is also only because you have attributed that उसके सॉल्व होने से आपको खुशी मिल जाएगी. That you'll be finally relaxed, finally sit and be happy. Finally, I will have my last इच्छा fulfilled, and finally, oh God, उसके बाद मैं कुछ नहीं मांगूंगी आपसे. या हे भगवान, पता नहीं तू है भी कि नहीं है, बट एक बार दे दे, so that I can at least say तू है. उसके बाद कुछ नहीं मांगूंगी. Finally, at that point, you will say that only if I get this. And Vedanta says, you have no problem. Your problem, actually, what you're saying is a problem, is a perceived notion, which is not existent. It is not there. It has no material substance. It has no value beyond what you are imposing to that. There are difficulties, there are struggles, no denial of all these things. Vedanta is not denying it. But what you look as an absolute problem and try to find a solution in the external world of that real problem that you see, Vedanta says ऐसी कोई problem नहीं है. अगर कोई real problem है तो बस एक ही है. Your own non-recognition of you being full, पूर्णम. There is only one such small, उसको problem भी नहीं कह सकते, इसको बस lack of knowledge कहेंगे हम. ज्ञान नहीं है, प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, ये ज्ञान नहीं है. और अगर आपको आत्मज्ञान नहीं है तो ये सब एंडलेस है, ये सब एक के बाद प्रॉब्लम्स का कोई अंत नहीं है. जिसको आप प्रॉब्लम दृष्टि देखोगे उसमें कोई अंत नहीं है. एक आएगी दूसरी जाएगी, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. That idea that Vedanta has started to tell me, and I have heard it, and I cannot own it up to say that yes, I am Purnam, because I still am afflicted by my habits. I'm still afflicted by my thinking. I'm still afflicted by a sense of want. I'm still afflicted by a small vision of my own self. I still have ego. I still have anger. I am a proper individual. Come what may. I have fear of disease. I have fear of death. I have fear of loss. I have all this, and I'm still hopeful that I will get something. नया साल शुरू हुआ है, अब मुझे नया खुशी मिलेगा. नया साल शुरू हुआ है, अब मुझे कुछ अच्छा वक्त आएगा. अच्छा वक्त आएगा. Hope is not a wrong thing. Fear is not a wrong thing. All this has a place in itself. But in the light of non-recognition of what Vedanta says, that you're full. And when I start to explore these statements, Shraddha ka matlab kya aata hai? If Vedanta says you are full, that fullness word is Brahman, don't worry about it. Bring it to the level at which I understand. You are full. आपको कहीं किसी तरफ से कोई कमी नहीं है. आप full हो. Full means Purnam. When we do that invocation, you'll see the meaning. That's why I'm introducing the word today, so that by the time we do the invocation, you will have the value of that invocation. You are Purnam. But there is no equivalent to Purnam. Whole, W-H-O-L-E, is also a very limited word. You are Purnam. जो इस पे मनन भी कर लेता है word पे. Just to think about this word. I am Purnam. Shastra says, Vedanta Shastra says, you are full. Complete. There is nothing lacking. That fullness, if I just accept it, I'm not able to correct my habits and my thinking and my shortcomings and my shortfalls that I have supposed to myself. I have projected them on myself. मुझसे वो correction नहीं हो सकती है because I'm just believing what it says. But Shraddha की value क्या है? That when I heard it, I fully, first of all, accept I do not understand it. Sorry. I don't understand it because I am still living as a limited person. I'm still living to get something from the world. But if I'm only calling it blessing, quote unquote, because it's only in Vedanta Shastra we understand all blessings have been earned by you yourself. That anugraha, if I had and I have Shraddha, I say I don't understand, but I want to understand now. I see the value of that statement. And when I say I want to understand it, just as for Timbuktu you wanted to know 1,000 things, suddenly there is jignasa. You want to know. And till it is known, like I said in the previous class, till I am able to see the truth of the statement. Tattva Bodha is the next verse that we are going to do. I see the truth in that statement. सत्य बुद्धि होती है मेरी उसमें कि जब वेदांता ने मुझे कहा कि you are full, initially I am sorry. If anybody says I've understood, I'll say wait for a little while and let's see. If you've understood, well and good. But if I have not fully understood, but I can see it is right, must be right, but I need to now own it up. Satya buddhi usme. At this point, it looks like impossible. I am born, I am gone. I have a very short life in between. मुझे नहीं पता इसके बाद क्या होता है. And whatever I'm getting out of life, I have no clue. All I know is To be happy, I need some things. And I have to avoid some things. Then I'm a happy person. मुझे वो मिलता रहे और जो चीजें मुझे दुख दे रही हैं वो मेरी हटती रहे, तो I maintain my balance of happiness. Averagely. This quality sustains me. Shraddha is the sustaining power. That the words that I hear from Vedanta, which seem to be absolutely impossible to me, and yet I sustain its quest till I know it, till I'm able to see the truth of it, till I'm able to see its reality. Just as I'm able to see the reality of the world today, just as I'm able to see the reality of my name today. If somebody asks you, even in your sleep, this has been my favorite example forever now. Fascinates me. गहरी नींद से भी कोई उठा के मुझे ऐसे ना झटका दे दे के ऐसे करके नींद से पूछे तुम्हारा नाम क्या है, I never ever think for a moment, what is my name? And I never ever give somebody else's name as my name. I never mistake myself as someone else. That name is so closely associated to me as a sense of reality. I am that. मुझे कोई गहरी नींद से छोड़ो, मतलब it's like ask, and I'm like, what is my name? Do I ever forget my name? That sense of reality in it. Do I ever forget my gender? There is a sense of reality in it. Do I forget ever, the minute I wake up, do I ever suspect that this world is a temporary appearance? When you see all the scientific programs on television or wherever, on planets, on space, the life that man is searching so desperately for on other planets or in other celestial beings, कहीं कुछ और life का expression है कि नहीं है? So much jignasa human being has to discover another planet like ours, where there is this sense of consciousness, conscious being expressing fully what they call as life. Is this consciousness expressing anywhere else in the planet, in space, in galaxies? This is a quest. Now, to know whether there is consciousness expressing anywhere else, Vedanta is very simple. Our rishis, our saints, our jnanis, we call them jnani, atma jnani. शांति से आपसे बस एक प्रश्न पूछेंगे. Consciousness expressing anywhere else what you're trying to look for, is that consciousness that is expressing here? And you're asking, is it expressed anywhere else? Tell me, have you understood? Do you know fully well the consciousness that is expressing here? क्या आपको इसकी समझ में आ गई है? Have you understood the consciousness that's expressing on the planet? Do you have any knowledge of it at all? Do you even, except for saying I am alive and there is an expression of consciousness, have you understood consciousness? Have you understood that awareness? That you're looking for other planets, उसमें कहीं पे है कि नहीं? यहाँ तो आपको समझ में नहीं आई. अगर आपको कहीं और मिल भी जाए, क्या आपको वहां देख के समझ में आ जाएगी? No. And this is where any student who understands this, suddenly, as I said, Vairagya is one of the greatest limbs for learning Vedanta. Suddenly उसका अंतःकरण बदल जाता है. उसको लगता है अब आप मुझे कितना भी ज्ञान दे दो, you find me the truth of life and existence from where has life originated. If you are not able to tell me what this consciousness is, your knowledge is incomplete. Because where my life originated from, I'm conscious of it. I'm conscious today. By knowing where my life originated from, do I get to know the knowledge of this consciousness? of my awareness. That exploration, when one goes through, of self-exploration with the help of Vedanta, that mode of communication that Vedanta expresses or takes help of, because you are the subject and what it's trying to tell you, you become the object of knowledge also. When the subject and the object of knowledge is the same thing, communication is virtually impossible, because you can know of things. I can know how to make a pot because pot stands different from me. I can know how to go to Mars because Mars is seen different from me. I can learn about things that stand different from me, that are objects for me, and I am the subject of it. But when I myself am the topic of knowledge, when I myself am said to be the object, and I myself am said to be the subject, the learner who learns about it or who wants to know about it, when the subject and the object of knowledge is one, communication virtually is very dependent and subtle. And that is why this text, almost all Vedanta texts, start first with adhikaritvam. What we are doing. Unless and until it is established that your preparedness is there, then the communication may penetrate to some extent. It may make some impact. And Shastra by itself is flawless in its communication. That method it employs is very generalized over here that I am presenting, extremely generalized words, to convey that you are that Purnam and an experience that you already have. You are now Purnam. It's not a future event. It is not that you will gain it. It is not that you will become it. Vedanta padh ke kya hoga? I will become full. You will not become full. You will not gain fullness. You will only remove the wrong notions. And the fullness you are now. That experience of it. Shastra has 3 ways of communicating it. 3 ways means they're all one only, but just for its own sake. That Shruti means Veda Vakyas. All the Upanishad methodology in it. Upanishad is all Vedanta, is all Atmagyan. The methodology it uses is the words that are there in Upanishads, Shruti. Veda Vakyani. Vakyani means plural. So statements that are made in the Vedas. It doesn't just make the statement and make you believe it. Ab maan lo. And then start living. You will be saved by God. You will have to have belief in it. That's it. So Shruti doesn't just say statements which will make you just believe in it. The next step that Shruti says is, once it makes a statement like you're full, it gives yukti. It supports its statements with logic, with reason, with tarka. Tark, mimamsa, these are the words they use. Once it gives you statements that are actually seeming impossible today to us, but it tells you about your real nature, once it makes such statements of truth, it doesn't ask you to just accept them. It will support its statements with logic, reasons. And they are very fine reasons. These reasons have origin in 2 places. Sometimes they use laukika tarka. Laukika tarka means something that you see in the world. When you sow a seed and you get a tree, you get a fruit. So it's something you can verify by your senses. So, I sowed a tree. Oh, yes. So in the same way, when you do your karma, you have sown the seed and you will get the phal. Now what happened? If I don't give the example at all, or I don't give the reason, and there is reason. This is just an example, but there is reason also. Supposing I'm just told that अपने कर्मों का आप ही फल पाते हैं. कर्म वर्ड क्या होता है? Action, okay, fine. Phal, okay, result. I get the result of my, okay, so therefore I must work more hard. Because if I don't work hard, I won't get anything. So Shastra tells me that I must work hard if I want something. That's not what Shastra tells you. What is it telling you? That whatever you are getting, whatever you've got, is all self-sown. It's a self-generated. But Shastra doesn't stop there. It further adds then. If the cycle is painful to you and is stressful to you, and it adds on, because now that Shastra's told me, I only will have to go on doing if I want something, and I can't expect anything from anywhere. So now, pehle to at least, okay, some illusion I lived with, but now they are saying, nee, if you don't sow, you won't get. So now, baapre, this has become too stressful now. But it says, if you feel so, then if you feel that kind of a thing, that karma se hi sab nirbhar hai, then there is a way out. Karma is only presupposing you yourself as the doer, karta, the small being. Now, the minute it's given me the logic, a logic that is supported by what I see in the world, and a logic that it has of Shastra Yukti, it's called. One is a Laukika Yukti, what is seen in the world, and I can reason with it. It's a starting point. And then Shastra gives its own supportive logic why it is so. So if it says that you want respite of stress, if you want respite from a feeling of heaviness on your shoulder, if you want respite of feeling burdened by your responsibilities, then the answer to that is stop seeing yourself as a small, limited being. Stop seeing yourself as a doer, as an actor, as a karta. Stop seeing myself. How can I stop seeing myself when I am that? Because your real nature is, you actually are a non-doer. You are actually a karta. You are only the support of all that gets done. Your essential nature, if you identify with that, then actions belong to the realm of Prakriti. They will anyway happen. But the burdenness will go. So the minute there is yukti given, I find myself more in acceptance of it, because human beings are a questioning race. There is no doubt about it. The problem with us is that when we have questions, most of the religions and most of the places have just thrust answers upon us. Either you believe it or you don't believe it. But Shastra is Vidya. And when it gives logic, now my mind has expanded the horizon of its understanding. It has brought in it certain subtle elements जो मुझे आँख कान शायद देख नहीं रहे थे, सुन नहीं रहे थे. The karta that I call myself as, the doer, I never ever saw it as a problem. In fact, without being a karta, I can't do. So I need to do more, be more, what is it called, dynamic. If I have to be more dynamic, if I have to be more productive, if I have to be more efficient, then I must be stronger and stronger as a karta. कर्ता कैसे का प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है? कर्ता can't be a problem. I can't. पहले तो मुझे पता ही नहीं था कि I'm a doer. And doer is just a small part of me. So when the scripture gives us reasons, and this is just an example, when it starts giving us reasons and logic, supporting its statements, it helps my faith sustain the Śraddha element. I sustain the Śraddha, and Śraddha sustains me. I sustain Śraddha because statements are not just said that I have to gulp down and accept. And I have to kill my thinking. I have to kill my questioning. I have to kill myself as a person to accept certain statements. Otherwise, I'm not a good, say, devotee or a student, whatever I call myself. When this logic is given, tarka can be from the world, or Shastra has its own tarka. Beautiful tarkas it has. Like example, one of the examples would be most irrefutable tarka. Your waking state, your dream state, and when they both resolve, your sleep state. I never ever noticed this. Even if I noticed it, I dismissed it. In fact, I called them my dream, and I have asked people, can you please do an analysis of my dream? Dream analysis is one of the very big topics of scientific study also. But when I said all the three have been my experience, how come I never concluded that before? The Jagrat Avastha, waking world, was not like my dream world. And dream world dissolved away. Waking world dissolved away. I slept, in which I had no experience of the world. Yes, science helps me to understand. It's very good for me because my body rejuvenates at that time. That's a wonderful thing to sleep well. But point is, what happened to my sense of individuality in sleep? What I call myself with such certainty कि मैं तो ये हूँ. As I said, in my sleep, somebody asks me, गहरी नींद में, तुम्हारा नाम क्या है? I don't say XYZ. It's so ingrained in me, my name. But in dream, where did that knowledge disappear? When I woke up, I recollected. I collected is the right word. मैंने फिर उसका collection कर लिया. शरीर से जुड़ा, मैंने फिर इस शरीर का नाम अपना नाम कह दिया. शरीर से जुड़ा, शरीर की अवस्था मैंने फिर से अपनी अवस्था कह दी. ना? हो गया, जुड़ गया. बट जब मैं सोई, तो सोने वाला, वाली दोनों गए. Sleep is a state natural to everyone and has no individual expression there. When the babies sleep, when dogs sleep, if you have pets and you have seen your pet go to sleep, it's something very, and you don't let them sleep for some time. You see the expression changes when they want to sleep. Something happens. And you keep shaking them and don't let them sleep. And you genuinely see something's overpowering them. And you, the naughty you, or the one who's at that point being cruel you, just doesn't want them to sleep. And at some point, they can't be bothered about you. Sleep takes them. They'll just dismiss कितना भी तुमसे प्यार लगाव कुछ भी है उनको. However much attachment they have with you, sleep when it comes to them, somehow, to all of us, sleep when it comes to us, the greatest affection I have for anybody in the world, at that point I'll say, sleep. I want to sleep, man. Can't you wait for some time? Give me some sleep. Let me have some sleep. That whole waking world, जिसको मैं इतना प्रिय समझ के, इतना लगाव रख के, इतना सब कुछ इन्वेस्ट करके इसमें, all that is required is that natural sleep cycle. And the whole thing disappears. My sense of individuality, my attachment to my name, my form, my body disappears. This logic that it gives us, this is logical, isn't it? Logical. This is not something you can deny. That is based on your anubhav, on your experience that you're going through. So what Shruti does is, means I am going through the 3 cycles. 2 cycles, 3, doesn't matter how many names you give them. Some people call them 3 states, some people call them 2 states. Waking and dream. Deep sleep is not a state. Some people say deep sleep is a state. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? If you are paying attention to what the subject is saying, what the topic is saying, and the topic is saying is, you are free of this cycle. You are the seer of the cycle. That experience is actually known to you, and you remain unaffected by it is the real bold. Highlight, neon color highlight. Unaffected. You are going through it, and you are unaffected by it. But when I come to waking world, the minute I have identified with this little me, good me, poor me, bad me, sad me, high me, why me, all my me's, all the me that I have identified with. The minute I've woken up, I started the class by saying, this problem, that problem, can't you understand? I have this. Or can't you please give me solutions of these problems? And Vedanta said, the one you are is actually unaffected by the whole thing, because when you go to sleep, सारी problem तुम्हारी गायब हो गई थोड़ी देर के लिए तो, और अगर सारी गायब हो गई तो now tell me the truth of the problem, then I will solve it. How truthful is it? How can I depend on such a thing? It can't be truth because it seems to be there, but it cannot be reality. If it is not a reality, how can there be a solution to it? If the problem is not real, where will you find a real solution? If the problem is an appearance or a temporary, you can have temporary solutions. No problem about that. But do you recognize them as only temporary? And their source of that, calling it a problem, could actually only be as simple as me not recognizing that I am an unaffected being. And unaffected is different from indifferent. Me as I have no cognition, because the minute I say unaffected, we are all identified with this waking person, me who's listening, and then I have to remain unaffected. The unaffected you is the one who is the seer of the 3 cycles. You are the seer of it. It's very fascinating. Now with our smartphones, which kind of saves everything that you put in it. And then you forget in your memory, but your phone has a memory. So you go by, you don't even remember. Like I was trying to see when did I shift, or where do I live, or wherever. The year was lost, so I was trying to get some space in my cloud, and I realized, oh, acha, this is the year. Now, everything in the waking world has that little significance, and it's gone. 31st gaya, 1st gaya, 2nd gaya, 2020 gaya, all of us, I remember 2020 was supposed to be that year 2020 because of that name 2020, this is identification. People thought, pata nahi zindagi badal jayegi 20, badli. Bahuton ki bahut kuch badal gaya 22. But did you expect this kind of a badlav? You were not ready for that on the 1st of 2020, 1st January 2020. 31st December 2019 was a very odd number. 2020 excited. 2021 now, that waking world will solve my problems. This is one of the most, hopeful statement, but Shastra says it's false hope. Because the experience that you have, that Anubhav experience, is not an imaginary experience. You can tap into it to recognize for which the words that the Shastra uses are only indicative of that experience, because that experience cannot be worded. All words can only convey something which is limited. You cannot describe the infinite. You cannot describe the formless. There can be no word for it. And if that is what your nature is and that is what you really are, even scriptures fall short, because they're only using the words to try and tell you what that experience, that fullness of yours is. And it takes the help of logic. And then what, here, if you see this, what Shruti was trying to say, Veda Vakyas were trying to make statements with the help of logic and nyaya and reason and examples, whatever it gives you, it wants only one thing to convey, which is your existing experience to be recognized correctly. So it kind of actually is only bringing to your recognition your experience of yourself in the right light. Bringing the right knowledge to yourself of your own existence. Till the time you see this, Shastra has said it. I may intellectually appreciate it, but I am still not able to, for whatever reason of mine, I'm still not able to fully establish in this knowledge. अभी भी मेरे नजरिए में, correction में, shortcomings है, and ये, it doesn't matter. That is not a problem. Now don't make that a problem. It's not a problem. It's inevitable till I recognize and establish in it. So, Śraddha means what I hear as Shruti Vakya, I sustain till I have the whole prakriya, the prakarnam is over, and I need Śraddha till I have recognized the experience. In other words, let me come back to the first example. When I heard of Timbuktu from people and I asked them कैसी है, क्या है, कैसे जाना है, कहाँ अप्लाई करना है, कहाँ रहना है, वहाँ कौन सी जगह है, और क्या लेके जाऊं, कौन से कपड़े पहनने हैं, और क्या चाहिए, long list. But once I have landed in Timbuktu and I have the experience of it now, do I need Śraddha anymore in their words? Now I don't need Śraddha in their words. Why? Because it's my experience. It is me. I can only verify it कि वो सच कह रहे थे कि झूठ कह रहे थे, कि वो सत्य कह रहे थे कि वो mislead कर रहे थे, मिथ्या कह रहे थे, कि वो wrong थे बिल्कुल. टिम्बक्टू इतनी सुंदर जगह है ही नहीं. I had this experience when I went. What is that? Some pass. There is some pass. One of the passes. Twice I had this experience. I was very fond of snow, most of the children are as children. And एक बार तो देखनी है ना जिंदगी में, देखनी है that, that experience you must have of snow. So one of the holidays, wherever, and Manali mein, whichever that passes, I don't remember. The whole route was beautiful. The minute we reached that point, I wanted to turn back. I wanted to tell the driver, let's go back. Why? Because it was nowhere what I had imagined. Why? There was pollution. The snow was not white. It was all polluted. It was black. I didn't come all this way to see black snow. Why did people not tell me before? If they told me where I was starting from, that it's going to be black snow up there and there'll be chips ke packets, ke khali packets everywhere, and people are going to force themselves sledging down on that, trying to get some enjoyment. I would have said, "Mujhe jana hi nahi hai," because I know what I wanted, and I know it was not this. Somebody should have told me right in the beginning, no? I would have saved myself all the trouble and all that everything. Now I can say, Shraddha pe started the journey. They told me it's beautiful. I wanted to see it also. But it didn't turn out to be beautiful for me. I have no delusion about it any further. I have concluded, and I don't advocate it to anybody because it's my experience now. Shraddha can prove it, sustain me till I prove it, whether they are right or wrong. Either way, conclusion is yours. Shastra gives me that freedom. या तो आप मुक्त हो जाओगे या आप नास्तिक बन के घूमोगे. And that is what this beautiful Shastra says in this verse of Viveka Chudamani when it tries to qualify Shraddha. And it says, all that word you need to remember because all the rest we have covered. Shastrasya Guru Vakyasya Satya Buddhi Avadharana. Having the Satya Buddhi in the Shastra Vakya, which the Guru is using to convey the point. That Satya Buddhi, seeing them as, giving them a benefit of doubt as being real also. Satyatva Buddhi, giving them a value of existence. ये सत्य भी हो सकती है ना? Till I don't know it, I can only say ये हो सकती है या नहीं हो सकती. And this is what Shastra points the beautifulness. If you have Shraddha, you will go by the scale. हो भी सकती है, नहीं भी हो सकती है. If you will weigh the pros and cons, because it will all be investment of your time, your life, your energy, your pursuits. Everything is to do with you. It's about you. It must be valuable enough for you. Now, if I have Shraddha over there, then the Satya Buddhi में हो भी सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता है. My value for हो सकता है will be higher. Enough for it to explore it with Shraddha, with faith, with trust, with belief in those words, but with an idea that I have to discover them as right or wrong, true or not. Right or wrong may be very English word. True or not. Sa Shraddha Kathitha. That is called Shraddha. Satvihi. By those who know the Sat, who know the truth. What is the value of that Shraddha? Kyun honi chahiye? Yaya, by which? By Shraddha. Vastu upalabhyate. You get the Vastu. And Vastu here is Sat Vastu, the real Vastu. And that Vastu is not inert as Hindi would project it. Vastu is not inertness. Vastu is the name of Sat Brahman, Sat Atman. You, the Sat, is Vastu, real Vastu. It's not the Hindi Vastu. You need a little sanskar correction there. In Hindi, vastu ko leke, अरे ये कैसी वस्तु है? We have a derogatory, or we look upon it as an inert thing. But vastu in Shastra is you, the conscious being. With that Shraddha, you will be able to gain the vastu. You get the vastu. And with this, I will stop the class here. Tomorrow, the rest of the portion of this, which means there are some verses in the Shastra which actually help us to understand if you don't have Shraddha, what happens. So We'll do those verses tomorrow. And with this, we'll end the class. Rura अंकल जी आप ज्वाइन कर लीजिए for invocation. सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु. अरोरा अंकल जी, आपके अरोरा अंकल जी, अरोरा अंकल जी, अरोरा जी. Okay. Anybody else wants to chant?
I can do it, Diti ji.
Yeah, sure. Om सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु.
Om Sarvesham Swastirбhavatu.
सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु.
Sarvesham Shantirbhavatu.
सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु.
Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu.
सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु.
Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu.
सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः.
Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah.
सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः.
Sarve Santu Niramaya.
सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु.
Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu.
मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्.
मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्.
ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम्.
ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्ताम्.
न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः.
न्यायेन मार्गेण हीम्राः.
गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम्.
गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभम् अस्तु नित्यम्.
लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु.
लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु.
काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः.
काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः.
पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी.
पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी.
देशोऽयं शोभरहितः.
देशोऽयं शोभरहितः.
ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः.
ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः.
ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः.
ॐ शान्ति शान्तिः.